Hi, I'm Tony Staunton, Irish bartender out of Chicago. After years of drinking, I decided to take a year off. So as I begin my journey, I decided to ask fellow bartenders what they do to stay healthy and avoid the industry hazards of the bar business. Welcome to Wide Awake 52. Melissa Carroll, welcome to Wide Awake 52. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So you're a bartender, Chicago bartender. So tell me, how did you end up in the industry?
Well, I kind of fell into the industry. I began back about 15 to 16 years ago. My first very glamorous job was at a Dairy Queen, and I haven't quit doing hospitality since. There's just something about serving ice cream that really got to me.
Yeah, now it's just more fun. It's got some booze in it, so it's got some more personality, right? It's like a Dairy Queen, but a little more fun, right?
Try to up the game a little bit as the years went by. Originally, I ended up hopping into back of house. I worked my way through, became a head chef at a place called the Bread Company on Goodwin. And from there, I made my way to Chicago. I worked at Rootstock underneath Mike Simmons for about 6 months or so, and I realized that I missed the experience of talking to a guest. So I made my way back to front of house as fast as I could and became a bartender.
And what do you think about the current climate in the industry right now regarding mental health, addiction? What do you think? So you're young, obviously younger than me. What do you think? Is it okay for people to ask for help, or do you think it's still taboo? Or
I would say to a certain extent it's encouraged, but it's also still taboo. It's the thing where people say, hey, you can come to me with anything. But I've often found if I'm like, hey, I'm feeling this way, what should I do about it? And a lot of times the response is, oh, be stronger. Or when you're asking someone for advice about how they approach it, they're like, oh, well, I've never had to deal with that. Like, I just get through the day, I work through it. I don't understand why people can't just work through it, you know? And I still feel like that makes it a very taboo subject. What I want to hear are people saying, you know, I don't have that experience, but we can find a way together for you to seek either the help you need or the help you might want, or we can try to build a community that's okay with talking about it. Because it's still one of those things that, like, you'll find yourselves connecting with people that have those kinds of feelings. But by and large, it's not, you don't walk into a bar and find everyone talking about whether or not they're having an off day or not. You have everyone talking about everything that's happened positive, even occasionally throwing on smiles that aren't even there. And I want to see that not happening in the future. I want to see people talking comfortably about however they feel and that being accepted, and it not being an expectation for bartenders to be on all the time. I get it behind the bar because it is our job, but outside of that, when you're out in the community, I think being able to be honest about how you're feeling at the time is very important, and I wish we could build that so that we can support each other instead of encouraging each other to be something that we're not at a time.
Sure, because you're trying to be entertaining all the time, but you've got to hit the refresh button.
Yeah, and I think that you should be entertaining to your friends or people that you know, regardless of whether or not you're in a good mood at the time. You know, I mean, Eeyore still gets to hang out with everyone. Why not us?
So you're saying that it's still people still think it's taboo, or it's still kind of like there's something wrong with you if you can't. And like when in Ireland they'd say, "Oh Jesus, your man can't handle his drink. He's a lightweight." You know what I mean? But or we'd say like he's fond of the drink. That means he has potentially like life-threatening alcoholism. But we'd say, "Oh, he's a bit fond of the drink, isn't he?" You know, for like just and to ask for help is kind of considered like, you know.
Yeah, and it's especially, I find it really shocking when it comes to things like alcoholism, especially in the industry, that you can't just say, hey, I think this person has a problem, what can we do to help them, and how can we be supportive in that situation, instead of just being like, well, they're in the industry. Like, I feel like that's such a non-answer to something that is a huge issue for us.
Because we're talking about it now, in 2019, and I spoke to a gentleman who's a bit older, he's almost 70 years old, and he's very successful business person. He loves the bar, loves going to bars, that's how we became friends. But he told me, he said in the old days, in the 70s and the 60s and the 70s and even up to now, he said, but in those times, it was just accepted that people in the bar business would just die younger, and that was there was nothing thought of it. That was just part of the industry. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas now we're kind of going, yeah, maybe we should try and help out, you know. So.
Yeah, I say with modern medical available, I don't see any reason why we couldn't live more than 40 years.
Mel, it's been quite an experience. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure, Tony.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks.